Of course, one of the biggest events of 2012 was the re-election of President Obama by a far bigger margin than George W. Bush was re-elected in 2004. On the day after the election, we discussed CNN and Fox News calling the election for President Obama, and of course, the incredibly hilarious and particularly funny now in retrospect hijinks of Dick Morris and Karl Rove, very, very upset, and their predictions that they made, which went incredibly wrong. Let's remember what it was like on November 8th after that election. I don't know why Dick Morris is particularly distasteful to me, Lewis, but he is. Something about him is particularly distasteful. Let's get a look at some of that video that he had.
Now from Detroit. So you, I'm sure, repudiate the New York Times poll.
Right.
Yeah, and let me go through the numbers because it's important for people to get it.
Yeah, it's important for people to get why I'm going to make up something completely false and be proven to be completely wrong on Election Day. Prove it to us, Dick, here. Let's take a look.
Florida, the Times says Obama's going to win by 1. But their sample has 7 points more Democrats than Republicans.
Turns out that's not the case. It turns out that Barack Obama is apparently going to win Florida. We're still waiting for the final results. Continue, Dick. Please inspire us with your incredible analysis of why the right-wing media really knows what the election results will be.
Pollster John McLaughlin and I went through the actual results of the last 4 elections, and on average, the Republicans had 1% more than the Democrats.
Yeah.
So that poll is off by a factor of 8. So instead of Obama winning by...
Like, listen to what he's saying. The poll's off by a factor of 8. It's multiple standard deviations off from the reality. Turns out the poll was about right.
And Dick Morris was dead wrong.
Yeah, Natan.
Let me just say something about that. The reason why the poll was right is because they just ask people, what party do you self-identify as? And that's something that's fluid. It changes over time. So in any one snapshot, when people say, if 38% of the people who answered the survey said that they're Democrats, that doesn't mean that they're over or understating how many Democrats are going to show, but just means that the people that are going to vote self-identify that way.
Absolutely. Let's continue.
Romney would win Florida by 7. In Ohio, Obama's shown as winning by 5 in the Times poll. But they had 8 points more Democrats than Republicans. And historically, there were only 2 points more Ds than ours.
Right.
So that's 6 points off. So instead of Romney losing by 5, he wins Ohio by 1.
Yep, that's going to happen.
And in Virginia, they have Obama winning by 2. But they have 8 points more Democrats than Republicans, and historically, there's 1 point more Republican than Democrat. That's off by a factor of 9. Romney wins wins Virginia by 7.
And that's pretty much what Rove did on his
board. This is the Bill O'Reilly program, and somehow this guy's allowed to come on here and say, Romney's going to win Florida by 7 and Virginia by how much? By 8 or by 9? I mean, it's just nonsense. It's nonsense, and everybody knew it, but they're talking about it like this is reasonable.
And does Bill O'Reilly have any sort of follow-up?
Let's listen.
Now, here's my question. Can a pollster assume that all Democrats and all Republicans are going to vote for whoever is running in their party? Can you assume that with any certainty?
Yes, you can. You get about 90% voting for their party, so you can. It's the independents who split. What the New York Times is doing is they're taking a poll that probably is initially accurate. I'll bet that all 3 of those polls show Romney ahead.
All right, I'm sick of this. This is just nonsense. He went on to say that Romney was going to have 300 or something electoral votes. It didn't happen, and that's the case. Not everybody was this ridiculous, though, at least not after the fact. Here is Newt Gingrich this morning on CBS saying, we got it wrong. And he includes Dick Morris. He says, Dick Morris got it wrong, I got it wrong, we got it wrong.
Well, I'm going to say bluntly, we were wrong. I think Karl Rove, Michael Barone, Dick Morris, a whole group of us, frankly, misunderstood what was happening in the country.
Yeah, you misunderstood what was happening in the country in the sense that the average of all polls predicted this race exactly, and you just chose not to believe that, right? I mean, what do you mean they didn't understand what was happening in this country?
Is it choosing not to believe it, or is it just trying to use different data that might not be accurate?
Data that doesn't exist except in their minds.
Do we think that they were making this up? Do we think that they just didn't want to believe it, so they looked for anything to give them an excuse to say that Romney might win?
I don't know.
You know what's interesting about this whole thing? This is really just part of the Republican rejection of facts. You can imagine if Romney had won, if Republican presidents would win in the next 12 to 16 years.
Yeah.
In 30 years, you have Newt Gingrich at 140, saying, we just got this all wrong with global warming. We were just totally wrong on what was going on in the country
We
and
just
the
didn't
world.
know.
Saying that knee deep in water.
Let's go to some of the calls of the election. Here is Wolf Blitzer on CNN making that call, a call that was really, I think, fake drama in the sense that we could tell about 90 minutes before this call exactly what direction things were going in. However, CNN and many networks choosing understandably to make it dramatic, and here it was from Wolf Blitzer on CNN.
Another 4 years because we project he will carry the state of Ohio. By carrying Ohio, he wins re-election. The president of the United States defeats Mitt Romney in this at this time right now. We have made this projection, so the president wins this battle for the White House. They're excited.
All right, so there it was, and then of course we have to see what happened on Fox News, right? My thought yesterday was if President Obama is reelected, I'm going to be watching Fox. We should almost cancel the show and just run Fox News. That'll be the show today, just seeing what Fox News is doing. Let's just take a little bit. Here is the announcement from Fox News about the big win for President Obama, the big loss for Fox News and a lot of their cronies and funders and right-wing rich guys, so on and so forth. Let's take a look.
Hard-fought battle for the state of Ohio. And now, as we've told you, Fox News has projected that Barack Obama has won it, and Fox News is projecting that Barack Obama has been reelected as President of the United States. That Mitt Romney's path to the presidency has now been foreclosed with the loss of Ohio.
Because now we can project that Barack Obama will win Iowa and
so
Oregon. The state of Iowa will go to President Obama.
Yes, it will, and a number of other states as well. So there it is from Fox News.